right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while since I've been back on, but I'm coming out with a bang here tonight. And we're starting off here in style with one of the guys I've gotten a chance to see some of his content. I've gotten a chance to know him because he's a part of things over at Blackheart Wrestling. And of course, we spoke about him here last week with Mr. Sportswire himself, the Lawman Kyle Kennedy, because the last time we saw the Lawman Kyle Kennedy in the ring was the last time against our guest. And that was the last time he was in the ring. So this is going to definitely be, this is kind of like your moment type of thing, but we'll definitely get the party started here and some. So without further ado here on the Sports Report, number one, Global Sports Show. Pro wrestling star here from Blackheart Wrestling, TNT, Explosive Wrestling, and elsewhere. That's Callam Majeikster. My friend.
I think that's probably the best introduction I've ever had in my whole 10 years of wrestling.
Wow. Well, certainly I've got strong words there from you. I appreciate that. I didn't know how I was going to pull that off because in case you noticed for about the past 7 or 8 days, my allergies are like through the roof, but we made it. Well, we've made it, but we're here and we certainly didn't want to delay anybody. And obviously it is a tremendous honor to see it. We've already got some comments. Obviously those from the Wrestling Appreciation Society have tuned in. I'm sure we'll speak about them as well, as we always do. But obviously, we've heard a lot about you over the past week or so with Mr. Sportswire himself, the Lawman Kyle Kennedy, and some others that have obviously been on Sportswire Radio. They're familiar with you because you've wrestled in Blackheart Wrestling. So for those that are watching, listening to this here on Sportswire Radio, I mean, give us here some of your reactions on some of the comments that you might have heard from Mr. Sportswire himself, the Lawman Kyle Kennedy.
I mean, from what I heard, I mean, honestly, I guess it was a surprise more than anything because
I think we all were about you, and the way he praised you, he doesn't praise many people often.
Oh, which again surprises me because that actual match, I wasn't really in that match that much. I wasn't really in the right mindset because of just some personal things that have been going on. So I wasn't in the match as much. Reese did take more of the beating, but the times that I was in, I was obviously trying to. Yeah, Reese got beat up pretty bad, but I do feel quite bad for it. But hey, we walked out to his music, so you can't complain. But yeah, it's just. Again, I truly think if I was in a better mindset and in the right mindset, I mean, hell, from what he was saying about me, again, from how I was, if I was in a better state, what I would do, what me and Kyle Kennedy or anyone from the site would do,
but honestly. Robert of course, obviously the anchor of the match for sure.
Yeah, that's the one. But honestly, we could just do absolutely anything. I really think we could blow the roof off. So that's it, you know. Just just the
there we go.
Just the fact that he was praising me so much, and you can see the passion that he has. You know, I didn't even realize he had a vlogging channel until obviously it was mentioned in the live. And I started watching it, and again, I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, this kid really has got passion. And again, like I said, I've done this for 10 years now. Next month is my 10-year anniversary. And there are so many people I've met, like, where you just, like, you don't really care that much. But honestly, you just see it in him, and you just cannot follow it all. You're just like, oh my God, this kid knows exactly what he wants. So, yeah, he's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
let's talk about a couple different things here. Let me get to some comments here in a second. First, we have here Matt Royale, who, by the way, is
Uh,
coming on. He's leading off for us Tuesday night on Sportswire. We have a
oh,
big day planned on Tuesday. Got a big announcement later on in my segment at 8:45. I'll have on the likes of Slugger Hampton, Disciple, the Metal God Alex Boyle, and of course they're in a really interesting match, the Stairway to Heaven ladder match. We'll get into that later on, and obviously, Matt will be with us on Tuesday. Also, of course, Shelby Sinar kind of is tuned in here. Of course, we'll definitely talk about Shelby. Shelby's one of my favorites, and this individual who you may or may not know of, may know somebody that you might know of, says evening, gents. So all people that I like. But I want to talk about the fact that you're in the business for 10 years and you see somebody like the lawman Kyle Kennedy, who, in his own words, has only been wrestling, basically a year, right? Whatever change, more or less. And the fact that he has that much, I guess, intensity and that much, and, dedication to wrestling, you don't see that often. You don't even see that. You've been wrestling 10 years. And, what does that mean when you see, does that maybe reinvigorate you a little bit to be able to say, you know what? All right, maybe that's going to make my game go up a little bit. I mean, I know the match obviously wasn't what we hoped to be from you and
oh,
Reese's end, but I mean, talk to me about some of those things.
absolutely. So, I mean, again, just like whether it's Carl Kennedy, Killjoy, he's been making moves
Yep.
for himself as well. Obviously, I've seen him debut for Blackheart. He debuted for us at TNT. And again, he's another one that hasn't wrestled long. And so when I look back at my career, so when I first started, my debut was actually at UKW.
Okay.
Not a lot of people know, but that was a one-time thing where it was their academy against the academy I was at the time, which
Okay.
unfortunately had shut down. Um, and then I'd stayed with a promotion called KGW until, like I said, they'd shut down, and then that's when I moved to TNT. Besides that, I hadn't actually debuted for another company until what was it, 2017? So probably
Wow.
about 6 years in to my career, and that was for what was then 4GW. We did a tour up the East Coast, and then after that, yeah, I didn't debut. I only debuted for Blackout in April, and again, absolutely, when I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, Jesus, I'm seeing how your career is faring compared to how mine did, and it's like, yeah, like you say, it does invigorate. I'm there going, geez, I really need to get, a boot backside and really just like kind of go other places. I've been, considering going to UKW, getting a few sessions in there, hopefully debuting, well, maybe re-debuting there,
Yeah, I
so
can't say you debuted there because you were there years and years ago. And
yeah,
I also have here Shelby actually said she ring announced that Academy show all those years ago. I mean, that's got to be really interesting there. She said she ring announced that Academy show. I loved the Versus series. We're talking 10 years ago. I mean, who would have guessed
yeah.
that? I mean, that's kind of wild,
I didn't
right?
even realize Shelby ring announced that one. Because I was in the Rumble, and because I was what 12 years old, and because I was just such a huge Jeff Hardy fan, obviously I decided I was going to dress
Yeah,
up
you
as
got
Jeff
a
Hardy.
little bit of the look there, a little bit, a little bit. I
Thank you,
mean,
yeah, a little bit. But yeah, no, I was like, oh, I'm such a fan of him. I want to be like him, and so I literally dressed completely like him. Uh, everyone had to constantly say to me, "You're not Jeff Hardy. Get rid of it. Don't do it again." So I did it. I did get rid of that after like another show, and then I was like, "Okay, not doing it anymore. Fair enough."
well,
Um,
that's wild though. I mean, you think about it, right? All those years later, and I
oh
mean, you're
yeah,
still going. I mean, you got to give yourself some credit, though. I mean, at the end of the day, to be still doing this 10 years and to do it at the age you're doing almost reminds me. I'm sure you're aware of a wrestler, Two Bit, and Two Bit was pretty much, I think, got to be maybe 14, 13 or 14 when he was looking to start out. And now, obviously, he's all over the place. So obviously,
yeah,
we've got somebody else like that, and we've got some other comments in here. Uncle Ralph from Top Tier over in CCW, and of course. Uncle Ralph, I'm looking forward to speaking with Slugger Hampton. Certainly, I have a couple of words, but you might be surprised, actually, what I'm going to say to Slugger. And you might actually like what I'm about to say to Slugger. So you'll get that at 8:45. So I look forward to you tuning in for that. Also, Wrestling Appreciation Society says, I think Callam is very much was material. I'll get to that in a second. I also want to get to the lawman Kyle Kennedy because we love the lawman Kyle Kennedy here on Sportswire Radio. And he says, rematch definitely on the cards. Hell, even a one-on-one. Be a pleasure being out there again. This is rare, nice words from the lawman Kyle Kennedy. Very rare.
And again, I'm getting these nice words from a match where I wasn't 100% in the game.
Maybe that's why he gave you the nice words.
Well, maybe just to cheer me up. But no, like I said, hell, if he's saying that when I was, very low, imagine what the hell he's going to be saying when I'm at 100%. Imagine what the crowd or what promoters are going to be saying when I'm at 100% and me and him face, whether it's 1-on-1, whether it's in a tag team. Hell, and like I said, the roof will be going off because it's just.
They may not have a roof. The next time you and him are in the ring, there probably won't be a ring afterwards.
That's fine. We'll make a roof just to blow it off.
Listen, you've wrestled in some places where there was no roof altogether. They were outside in a carnival. So, I mean, Disciple did one of those also not too long ago. So, at the end of the day, we can find a place. As the famous Megadeth song was, have cool, we'll travel. So, if we can't find a wrestling ring without a roof, we'll definitely have cool and we will travel. And I want to get into your tag team partner. He also says here, was a pleasure sharing the ring with you. I hope we get another chance to face the society again someday. Also, got to give a huge shout out to Joanne Sinar, who was messaging me right before I was about to go on the air. She says, whoop, whoop, UK wrestling. And what do you think they are going to say? Well, we'll figure it out here, but I want to come back first to your partner in the ring, and I'll get to the Wrestling Appreciation Society in a second, but let me get to your tag team partner again a few weeks back, and that was Reese. And obviously, Reese is definitely a big man in the ring. He definitely can give some offense out. He definitely takes some as well. And talk to me about your experiences in terms of teaming up with him over at Blackheart Wrestling a few weeks ago.
So, I mean, again, the thing, I train with Reese, so I know him very well. When it came to teaming up, it felt very almost alien to me because I'm not used to doing tag teams. I'm very much kind of like a solo player. So, when we were told, okay, we're going to put you guys together, we were like, okay, let's work. Obviously, we used his music because his music is way better than mine. I mean, if you've got a name like Reese Lightning, you've got to come out to Grease Lightning. Like, there's no other way you can do it. But yeah, again, Reese, I'm very sorry you took most of the beating. But I repaid it because I got knocked out right after the match. But I mean, yeah, again, like even after the match, I would have still stood up to them, the society. I would have still stood up, and if they were wanting to fight, I would have fought them. And obviously, when you get taken by surprise, you don't really get up from that. But we made it out the ring, and I mean, we managed to get a standing ovation. Everyone, as we literally stood on the stage, and everyone was applauding, which was it's a huge thing to me. Like, if the crowd don't care, they're not going to do anything, and then that makes you feel even worse. But the fact that they were at least applauding us as we were leaving really did help us, like, especially with getting backstage.
Let me ask you then a follow-up question to that before I come over to a few other things. How important is that as a wrestler? You know this because you've been wrestling a long time. So like some other people. Talk to me about that.
I've definitely had matches where I've left, when I've left the ring, and say the ring announcers then said, "What did you think of that match?" And with it being silent, it honestly crushed me. Every time it has absolutely crushed me because I've just been like, "Wow, you really hated it that much?" To be fair though, that only ever happened when I was a heel, so that wasn't as bad. Even still, it's just like, wow, okay, you really didn't like it that much.
I feel like in wrestling, the worst thing, and I've gotten a chance to watch some stuff recently as well, as somebody we've interviewed, we've become friends with on Sportswire Radio here in New York, is become a professional wrestler, Chris Urban. And you can tell one of the worst things I think for a wrestler is if there's no reaction altogether, whether it's a yell or a cheer or a boo, whatever it might be. If there's like total silence, that is the worst thing I think in professional wrestling for a wrestler.
Oh yeah, and again, it's kind of like kind of wondering what to say. So again, one of the things when you heel is when you walk out to the ring and you got to say something that kind of gets the crowd going to hate you, but it's like you don't really know what to say. So when you say something, they don't care, so then you got to figure out something else to do. The main annoying thing is some of the shows that I do, kids get given these inflatable baseball bats, which are honestly the bane of my life. I hate them so much. The amount of times I get hit in the eye or something like that is
Oh
so
my
horrible.
God. Oh my God.
Oh, honestly, yeah, but I mean that's the main thing, you know, obviously when they hit the heel, but my thing is like if I don't get that immediate response, I'm okay with it because I know I can get a response whilst I'm doing my entrance. Because again, you just like target someone or you just start shouting stuff and then they react to it and then you're like and then you've got that reaction. Then they hate you. Then they know to cheer for the face. When you're a face and you walk out to the ring, it's a hell of a lot easier because obviously you're full of energy and so the crowd cheers for you. But I do think as a heel, it can be a bit more difficult.
Well, I could certainly see some of those things here as right now we are on Sportswire Radio live with pro wrestling star here, Callam Majeikster. I'm glad I got his name right because that was the most important thing. I always tell the story to people before we get to more comments. I had interviewed a famous baseball player at the time, and he just came to the New York Mets organization and here in America. And the guy who got me the interview, gave me the liner notes. I'm thinking, all right, no problem. It's a big interview. It's a big deal. I had a lot of people. This is, a few years back, and he never told me how to pronunciate the guy's name, and I screwed up like the whole interview till the very end. And it was like I had to go back and it was like I can't even listen to the interview this day. It's actually one of the biggest interviews I've ever done. But the point is, we're glad we got Callam's last name right. You can follow Callam though on Instagram, Callam_Majeikster. Also catch him on Facebook as well, and certainly all great stuff here. And let me get to some more comments. And Joanne Sinar says, Elvis, he should be called Grease Lightning. Okay, so certainly we can appreciate that. And the lawman, Kyle Kennedy, says, I speak kindly of this man because he speaks of me well, and I appreciate that. See, I can be nice. It's just all the other morons that judge me before they even step to me. Well, that could be true. There is some definitely interesting characters out there. I've got a good one. I will come back to Wrestling Appreciation Society because you spoke about a couple of different things, and I really want to get to them because I'm going to have Matt on, and we had Travis Cox on a couple of weeks ago. And I want to make sure I get a shout out to them as well. But Shelby's got a good one here, which I want to bring up. Of course, we love Shelby, by the way, and I always say this because you'll appreciate this because Shelby obviously was the ring announcer for your first match, way back for UKW 10 plus years ago. I say for the UK wrestling scene, I say it all the time, to me, Shelby Sinar is kind of like what Trish Stratus and Lita were years back and kind of being like at the founding forefront when it comes to women's wrestling, like in the world and especially in WWE. I look at Shelby. Shelby's the trailblazer because all these people I've seen, like Alexis Falcon, Helena Razor, Jenny B, Lana Austin, Tonga, all these people, there wouldn't be any of them if it wasn't for a Shelby Sinar and all the great things that she's done. So,
I agree.
I'm glad that you agree because I think most people with a brain or at least half a brain would. But enough about that. And I'm sure Shelby's probably upset that I even brought that up again. But Shelby has a good one here and says, what do you think is going to happen with the strangers at Blackheart Wrestling?
Oh, I don't even know. It's
well, you're supposed to know. That's why we asked the question.
Yeah, well, the thing is with the strangers is I just keep my nose out. I've seen, Killjoy and Gung Ho Muttley and Henry Winter. They want to fight these strangers, and from what I heard from the last show, Killjoy and Sammy Blue weren't successful. But again, it's they're sticking their nose into business that isn't theirs. The reason I haven't been attacked or had to fight him is because I've just gone, no thanks, not for me. I'm doing my own thing. I'm really not bothered. The strangers can do what they want as long as they're not coming for me. I don't care.
So you don't share the same perspective that some of them like
It's,
Supersonic
pro-
Sammy Blue or
it's probably just people trying to get booked. And if that's the case, they could just get in contact with
well,
account management. But that's just not my forte. I'd rather not get
all right.
involved in
So
the.
let me ask you another question to that because before I get to wrestling appreciation, and I'm really teasing them here, but I promise I'll get to them. But what you said in a lot of ways, and I'm actually people are going to be surprised I say this, and I'll say it when Slugger comes on in a little while, is kind of what a Slugger Hampton was trying to say with us about a month or so ago, where he felt like a lot of these different wrestlers that have come up and they're younger wrestlers, and obviously a lot of them, if not all of them, have come on to Sportswire Radio, and they're trying to make a name for themselves in ways that maybe they shouldn't be making a name off themselves for. And you're a veteran now, so you've been in the ring 10 years. So when you speak, it's a little different. If somebody else speaks, it may come out and people may not take it as seriously. But do you feel like that maybe that's the case, that some of these wrestlers who are trying to maybe, how can I put it in a way that Slugger put it in a nice way, as nice a way as Slugger Hampton? So I mean, really can't really put it too much of a nice way. But for those that are listening and watching, I want to put it in this way, almost kind of like maybe too big for their britches. Almost. Do you kind of feel that that's what it is, kind of thing? Because you're a veteran, so when I ask you, it's different than anybody else.
Again, I can't. I don't really know how to answer because again, I'm just trying to keep my nose out of business that isn't mine. Um, Obviously, I know they're under JPR's leadership, so possibly people who personally know JPR. Sorry, I just butchered his name. Um,
Don't feel too bad. I told the story before. I butchered somebody's name, and the whole interview I can't ever listen to again. So don't feel bad.
yeah, I mean that did surprise me again. Considering I teamed with him in my debut for Blackheart, and then for him to just come out a few months later and be like, "I lead the strangers," that was very much a shock. But I mean, I don't even know. Again, I just think it's people that are probably trying to get noticed, and maybe they don't have a better way, or like they don't know any other way to try to get noticed, so maybe they're trying this instead. Um, yeah, I just keep my nose out because I don't want to get beaten up by a group of guys who, I don't even know who they are. So it's like,
That's a good point. You know what? And that's probably
if I knew,
listen. That's
if
the
I,
best approach you could take.
yeah, if I knew who they were and they like to square up to me, then I have no choice but to take them on. But I don't know who they are.
That's the
Who they
best
are.
advice anybody could give. You know what? That reminds me. I was at a bar last night, and I don't drink, and I'm talking, and I was at a thing and a function, and the guy goes, "Oh, you interview all these wrestlers and stuff." I said, "Yeah." He asked me, "What's the best advice you could give me for somebody like yourself that speaks with a professional wrestler?" I said, "Don't get on their bad side and just kind of mind your own business and basically
Yeah,
respect them at all times." That's pretty much the same exact
yeah.
advice that you're giving here. And let me get to a bunch of different comments here. First, I want to get to our friends over at GT Ministries. And speaking of GT Ministries, before we get to them later on, I want to give a shout out because I finally have my Gareth Angel shirt on. So I want to make sure that Mr. Angel will certainly be happy with that. I have an announcement in the 8:45 segment with some of the guys' disciple, the metal god Alex Whirling, making his debut to Sportswire Radio. And of course, Slugger Hampton. He says, "Good shout, Tom. This is a good lad who is busting his ass." That means that management of GT Ministries, you got to get Callam Majeikster on your show one of these days. Maybe Chronicles, maybe another show. You definitely got to get him on. He's definitely an emerging pro star. And oh, young man, oosh, if you cannot answer questions, I don't know what that means necessarily. But let's come back to Wrestling Appreciation Society because they're a company that all of a sudden I've heard about in quicker than a New York minute. Yet I see wrestlers left and right debuting. I see wrestlers taking shots at different wrestlers like the Lawman, Kyle Kennedy. Now, I'm not going to ask you on Matt Royale and obviously Travis and Donnie Franchise and whoever else is out there. I've seen some other names. I think Connor Cage is a part of it now. I've seen Dan Robertson. So I got to ask, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio who are Wrestling Appreciation Society fans, is this a company that you could see Callum being a part of?
I mean, I honestly, I will work for any come honestly, any wrestling promotion, all they need to do is message me and just ask.
Well,
Like,
Callam underscore Majeikster on Instagram. That's what I'm going to say right now. So if you're Wrestling Appreciation Society, give him a DM.
absolutely, like that's all that needs to happen is just message me and I'll work for you. It's the same with like say GTM. GTM is not that far away from where I live. I'd have to get 2 trains, but that doesn't take that long. It's you know that's all that needs to happen. Absolutely, I've seen the talent that they're booking. Absolutely, I could work for them. I see, half the guys I'm going. I could wrestle you, and I could have a match with you, and we could have an absolutely class match. So again, it's just we'll see what happens. Plenty of time, so we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll certainly see about time. I mean, obviously, deadline is coming up April the 23rd, and certainly we'll speak with Matt Royale about that. I mean, do you like how they've done their rollout of all these different wrestlers? I mean, it's kind of
Yeah,
different way.
obviously, yeah. I mean, it does look very good, and it does look professional in my eyes. And again, it's hyping up. It's bringing the hype. Here's like I don't know if they have put Salon on Kyle Kennedy, but like I say, it's going. Here's Kyle Kennedy. Here's Connor Cage. Here's Dan Robertson. It's building it up and getting people excited because they now also have the time to research. The fans have time to research these wrestlers. Go on YouTube. Go on Facebook, Instagram. Have a look at what these guys are doing, and then they can pick out their favorites from it.
Well,
So
I agree with you. And, I'm looking at some of these videos now. And before I get to management from Wrestling Appreciation Side, I see Connor Cage with his video out there. I see, obviously, Dan Robertson's video out there. And I'm saying to myself, Callam Majeikster is a 10-year pro. Callam Majeikster has been all over the place. He's had big success. He's been a part of some big matches. I mean, this is the kind of guy that would put butts in the seat. This is the guy that would definitely bring a fan base out there. This is the guy that could win, let's say, that Rumble that they're going to have their deadline, just as an example. So to me, I think it's a no-brainer. And apparently management has responded, and they say, let's just say we've already been in talks with Mr. Majeikster. So I guess apparently somebody sent out a DM as we spoke, I guess, huh?
maybe hasn't come through yet, but maybe
Oh, well, we'll find out, I guess. I mean, we've got we've got another 7 months or so. So stay tuned, I
exactly.
guess. I guess stay tuned here. And certainly if you do want to follow, in the meantime, though, Wrestling Appreciation Society on Instagram, you can do that, wrestlesociety.hud. You can also give them a like on Facebook as well. And definitely do that because they can use some more followers for sure. Certainly Donnie Franchise, Matt Royale, we've got Joshua James, we've got Killjoy, we've got Connor Cage, and of course, the lawman, Kyle Kennedy, Mr. Sportswire himself. And speaking of people that have announced themselves as a part of the Wrestling Appreciation Society Rumble, a man that has been on here quite a bit in the past on Sportswire Radio, and I'm sure will be back again. Also, recently was mentioned a little while ago in Blackheart Wrestling, that is Mr. Dan Robertson himself, who, by the way, I do have a Killjoy shirt, so I do want to make sure I give him a shout out. Yes, I have worn that all over the place, and people looked at me and said, "What the hell are you wearing?" I'm like, "No, it's a pro wrestler shirt." Because they look at all the
Yeah,
fists, they think I'm like a part of a cult. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I am part of the cult of Killjoy, but I'm wearing a shirt. That was kind of the point. But he's here with us, and he says, "Hello there, my friend. Anything you may want to say to Mr. Robertson?"
well, it's just one of those things where, again, time's gonna tell. We've pitched to a couple promoters about me and him possibly working together. Again, like I say, he hasn't wrestled long, but he's been getting himself out there. He's building up his experience. And if there's anything I want to do, it's to try and help out people who are just starting to get into the business.
Hey, and let
So,
me say this. I like the fact that he went straight to the jugular. He went right and got himself a face-to-face with Gareth Angel. Think about that, right? How
yeah,
hard that was able to be able to pull off. And he pulled that off. So you got to give him that much that he was able to. He went literally straight up to the top. He went right for the jugular. He went for the guy that everybody looks at. And that's Gareth Angel. And he got in the ring with him. You know what? At the end of the day, regardless of how it happened, regardless of how long it went, what went down, he got himself a face-to-face with the Gareth Angel. So you know what? Can't fault him for that.
Oh, you can't. You literally can't.
And speaking of Mr. Angel here, he says, I think I recognize that T-shirt you're wearing. Yes, and I do want to give a shout-out to Gareth Angel because, yes, I am wearing the very well aforementioned Gareth Angel shirt. And, of course, you can get one of your own by going over to GT Ministries UK. You can give them a follow on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. Go follow them. I believe it's tshirtstudio.com is where you can buy one of your shirts like the one I have with Gareth Angel. So definitely make sure that you buy one of these because I actually like the shirt already. So I definitely am excited about it. And he says here, my Gareth shirt was better. Well, I've got your shirt too. I mean, listen, I at this point, as I tell everybody else, Callam, if you have a shirt, I'll probably wind up buying it as well because
I don't yet. I've tried looking at making T-shirts. I don't have one yet, but in the near future, I will.
All right. Well, make sure you make a shirt. I'll make sure I get it because at this point, the running joke is all in my wardrobe is these days are wrestling shirts. So at this point, that's kind of be some of that. And also, we've got here, Mr. Robertson says, would be an honor to pin your shoulders to the mat and win. Meaning, I believe he's going for you on that. So we'll see about that. And yeah, and Mr. Angel also wants to remind me that Mr. Robertson got smashed for running his route. Yes, he did. In fact, I believe it was the GT Ministries champion there, Jack Johnson, who kind of piled on there also on Mr. Robertson. But I'm going to get to an announcement later on when the GT Ministries guys get on here, which I think Mr. Angel will certainly be very, very curious to hear. But stay tuned for that. And also, we have here Matt Royal says, would be an honor to step in the ring with Callam again. Now, I want to talk about that because Matt Royal has an interesting story because he was sort of a pro wrestler and then he kind of stepped away from it. We had a wrestler on about a few weeks back, kind of a similar story, but for different reasons. And Chris Murphy, who was out, he was injured for a while and he finally came back. Did some work in nonstop action wrestling, but talk to me then maybe about your history with Mr. Matt Royal.
First of all, Mr. Royal, you've spelt my name wrong. So if we get in the ring, I'm going to knock you out. Plain and simple. I'm sticking my name wrong.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I even asked to make sure how to say your last name, so you got to give me brownie points at least.
I've known him for so long, he spelled my name wrong. So, Matt, I mean, we started off in TNT. I can't remember exactly when it was that he started, but yeah, we spent years at TNT training together, and we even had a couple of matches together. And I mean, I could never fault him. He genuinely is. He is a good talent. I understand why people, obviously, like you said, you saying you're not familiar with him. He did take some time out. As we all have, I'll admit I've taken time out before. I took a year out when I first started university, and then I came straight back because, well, as soon as like the first lockdown here was done, I was straight back, trying to do wrestling as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, again, Matt Royal, he does have the passion. He does know what he's doing. I just, I guess I worry a little bit that the ring rust might kick in as it did for me. Hell, my first match, I think it must have been what, 8 months since since I'd last had a match, and the ring rust was so bad, and I got my ass kicked, well and truly. I honestly never felt pain like it in my life. I remember coming home that night and just laying in bed and just feeling so much relief.
It's funny that you said that because I had interviewed a wrestler almost 2 years ago who had made a brief comeback in the ring. A guy, Chad Parham. Basically, long story short, he was in the NWA Wild Side, which had AJ Styles and a number of different wrestlers. It used to be kind of like a training ground for WCW to an extent. He had wrestled Jeff Hardy. He was a WWE extra. Make a long story short, he told me when he was back out there, he hadn't been in the ring. We're talking like, I don't know, 8, 9 years. And he
Yeah.
said the ring rust, even for him, who was a pro who wrestled thousands and thousands of matches because he hadn't been out there. So I could only imagine the ring rust that somebody's going to face, especially like a Matt Royal. Because if you're telling us, and we had asked a lot of guys when wrestling was starting back up last summer, I would ask the likes of a Two-Bit, a Rick Marcus, the Cumbrian Outlaw, and anybody else, whether it was Davey Getzky who would come on at the time originally, and different people from all over the scene. I would ask them, I said, what's that got to be like in coming back in the ring? I think that's going to be his biggest challenge. No, not the fact he's going to be who his opponent is going to be, but just the fact that he's going to be wrestling almost against his body because he hasn't been out there in so long.
Especially considering, if I remember correctly, he said during Carl Kennedy's interview that he'd been nursing an injury. So that's another thing. Again, one thing that I can happily say is I've never been injured, so I'm all right with that.
Lucky you, lucky you.
Yeah, never been injured, and have never injured any of my opponents. So
you're telling us you're the Bret Hart of the UK wrestling scene, because he would always famously say, "I've never been injured. I haven't been injured anybody else." And
I wouldn't quite compare myself to Bret Hart. I wouldn't say I'm at that caliber, but I'd like to say I'm definitely a safe worker, if you will. But
which is important because there are wrestlers out there that they're unsafe. I won't name names. I've heard wrestlers from different companies that I've spoken to, and they'll tell me, and I'll say, "Oh, well, why isn't that individual I haven't seen recently?" And they'll explain to me why, and then I'll say, "Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in the ring with them either."
But again, Matt, all I can say is just be careful on your body. You know, I'd say be careful who you pick as your opponent, especially if you're coming back after however many years you said it's been, or however long it's been. Be careful who you pick. Take care of yourself, and for God's sake, get the training in and train your body as well, because stepping back into that ring is going to hurt like hell.
And I think almost kind of like in the way here that Mr. Angel kind of has it here, he might want to pray, eat, wrestle, and repeat because he might need that. I mean, no, seriously, he might actually have to do a lot of praying to make sure he doesn't get hurt. Also, do some eating to maybe pack on some muscle in the pounds. Do some wrestling, train, and just repeat that over and over. So he really might want to buy the Gareth Angel shirt to kind of get those reps in there. But he also says here, Mr. Angel, he says, let's not take anything away from, I think he made a mistake. So certainly, Mr. Angel, you're going
to have as well, right? God's sake.
Well, Mr. Angel, certainly, I'm going to give him a pass because Mr. Angel is all over the place. And I want to give a shout out to Mr. Angel before I come back to anything because he was all over the place doing the rounds for GT Ministries and the documentary. And unfortunately, the documentary we were supposed to speak about tonight, but we're hoping to speak about it next week with Blue Glasses Girl. So we're hoping, obviously, everything that's going on with the Queen. And we send all of our prayers and love to everybody impacted by the loss of the Queen. Such a obviously difficult time in the world. Obviously, a leader of strength and so many people impacted by her loss. And certainly I want to make sure I give my thoughts and prayers to anybody here that's listening or watching just impacted by that. Certainly, I am a reverend as well, so I do have sympathies for many people out there, though it doesn't look like it sometimes. And also, Mr. Angel says he's praying for Mr. Robertson, so that's here nor there. But if you do like what you hear from Sportswire Radio, do give us a like on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. I'm 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. And I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. And we are here with pro wrestling star here, Callam Majeikster, a 10-year veteran in the business. That means he spent just about half of his life in a wrestling ring. So he's actually up there with the likes of the Harts and the Ortons and the Flairs and the Rhodes, who basically, in a way, they've spent most of their lives in a ring Well, he spent just about most of his life in the ring. I'd even throw in a bonus as a McMahon, technically. So, in a way, he's got that. And we've also, Gareth also wants to say he's updated the spelling. So, he actually wants to remind me to show up that comment. So, Mr. Angel, certainly, we got to give him a pass. We love Mr. Angel here on Sportswire Radio. In fact, I always want to make sure I recognize him because he's always speaking with me off the air, and he's just really does so much for us and so much for the community and obviously Bradford. And I really can't wait to speak about this documentary. So all I'm going to say about it is, even if you're not a wrestling fan, or even if you are a GT Ministries fan, or you whatever you might be, just please try to find a way to watch that documentary. I promise you it's going to really open your eyes, but also open your eyes in a way with what professional wrestling, I think, in a lot of ways can do for people. And Mr. Angel also says Callam deserves more opportunities. Now, I want to speak about that for a second because, I see a lot of these different wrestlers, right, in this company called Nonstop Action Wrestling. Like I see the Lawman, Kyle Canelo, for whatever reason, he's having problems with them. I have no idea why still, after all he's done for that company. I see Connor Cage. I see Champ Rogers from Blackheart, Supersonic Sammy Blue, Leone Rose, who I know, pretty much Tommy Dillon, who's going to be at GT Ministries once again. Slugger's been a part of Nonstop Action Wrestling. Disciple, I can go on all day, right? JPR. But I say to myself, Callam Majeikster, Nonstop Action Wrestling. I mean, that would make sense, right? I mean, I look at you, I look at what you bring to the table. I mean, is that a company that you have your eyes on? And give me your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. And again, as I've said before, any promotion that would ever want to use me for their shows, all I'd need to do is message me and I would get on.
Well, I'm glad that you've brought that up because speak of the I can't say angel, I guess. I was gonna say speak of the devil, but I can't say devil, right? But I'm only kidding. Speak of the angel, Mr. Angel says, Callam, are you free on September the 24th? Let's get you on the card because I'm sure you're aware of that next weekend. There's arguably what many people, including myself, say the biggest wrestling event of the year, of the world. Forget about All Out, forget about Double or Nothing, forget about SummerSlam, WrestleMania, forget about Flair's last match, all that stuff. GT Ministries Chronicles, GTM Chronicles, next Saturday is the event that everybody around the world is talking about. And Mr. Angel, what he's trying to say is, are you have any openings? Are you available? What do you think about that?
After this is done, I will have a look at my calendar. I'll have a look at my schedule, and Mr. Angel, I will message you privately. And
okay, all right. Well,
I can't guarantee now, but we'll see what's happening. Like I say, I'll let you know privately, so we'll sort something out.
Well, you know what? The way you answered it probably was the most professional way to answer. Maybe that's why Dan Robertson wouldn't have got the beat down. If he would have answered the way you would have, I don't think he would have got the beat down he would have got last month.
Dan Robertson, again, I admire his passion. I admire his drive.
I like him. I still like him, but he definitely got a beat down. He got a beat down handed to him.
Going through the exact same thing that I myself have been through, where you don't have a filter, so you basically you say what you want because you think you're invincible. You're young, you think you're invincible, and then when the beatdown comes down, you're going, "Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that." Or
I've had plenty of those instances. I always tell the story as a kid when I would get out of line, and I knew it. My father would come home from work, and it was like, "All right, yep, I earned that one. I definitely earned that beatdown." So that was kind of that's why I'm here, and certainly that's so I hear you.
It's just tone it down a bit.
All right, well, let me get to a couple of comments. Let me get to Uncle Ralph first because I love Uncle Ralph. He says, give Slugger and DB Riley their proper credit. Yes, they are the reigning defending CCW Tag Team Champions. We love everything that they do here, of course, top tier and the working class militia. And they, of course, are everywhere. I see him in GT Ministries. I've seen him in Nonstop Action Wrestling. We're going to have Slugger on. Uncle Ralph, I think you're going to be pretty pleasantly surprised about what I'm going to say to Slugger in a little while. So I promise you, a lot of people are going to be like, really? You said that to Slugger? But you're going to be surprised. You're going to be pleasantly surprised. All I'm going to say. So I'm actually excited about it. I've spoken to Slugger. So all I'm going to say is stay tuned in a little while. Also, Mr. Angel says, let's speak soon. And this individual says, this individual looks like somebody that could be, I'm trying to think in one of those like Coldplay videos. He must be like a Coldplay fan, this guy. Whoever, because whatever reason, I look at the face, I look at the picture, it looks like, I don't know, like a Death Cab for Cutie video, or it looks like just one of those like guys who's in like one of these random videos like that. I don't know, whatever. Pick a band and you could throw a description out there. But he says Robertson seems like fill in the blanks got what was coming to him, if you ask me. Well, I'm gonna plead the fifth. I still like the guy. I'm proud to still have his
Oh,
shirt. You know.
so do I. Again, it's just he's going through the moment where he thinks he's kind of invincible, he can say what he wants. It's just you got to calm down a little bit, kind of respect your veterans, which is again is something I learned the hard way until eventually I had a guy called Donny Bull who he was constantly trying to give me advice, and again because I was younger and I thought I knew everything, I used to kind of just shrug him off and be like, oh, whatever. Until eventually one day I went up to him, I shook his hand, and I said, I'm going to start listening to your advice. I'm really sorry.
Oh.
How can you help me? And honestly, that is when I humbled. I'd say probably late 2016, early 2017. That's kind of when I humbled up, and I was like, okay, I'm going to listen now. Like, and obviously I've had no but respect from him since. So obviously, again, that just shows when you humble up, you get the respect from your peers. So.
And I've heard that from almost any veteran wrestler that's come on to Sportswire Radio, whether it's in Disciple, whether it's obviously a Gareth Angel, whether it's a Rick Marcus when he came on in the past, or Wildfire Nate Reese in the LWF, Reynaldo, who obviously I had the honor to meet when he was here in New York, and they told me the best advice that they could give to any wrestler is to basically take the veterans in the locker room, go up to them, basically, talk to them and how much, respect you have for them and just, learn from them. And I think it's like anything else. And I say this over and over on Sports Bar Radio. Wrestling to me is like an apprenticeship. It's really,
Yeah.
you have to learn from stuff. Because even the Ortons, even the Harts, even the Flairs, even the Rhodes, any name out there, dynasty family in wrestling, they still had to learn from somebody. Wrestling is not like playing a sport. You can just go, okay, I can go and learn in my backyard or go learn in my local park. No, wrestling is definitely a lot different. So certainly you want to pay attention and respect those that are certainly feared. And also, I have another message before I get to Mr. Dan Byrne. GT Ministries also from management has given me a message. As GTM management, can you run bookings by us first, please, guys? Callam, you are welcome on September 24th at Chronicles. Yeah, Mr. Angel is I guess he's a busy man. Listen, GT Ministries management, you got to cut Gareth Angel some slack because I see him all over the place. I saw him in Barcelona. I saw him everywhere. He's almost like the Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere, man. So listen, the man he's spreading the word of Jesus Christ. He's spreading the love of wrestling. He's probably consoling somebody right now by the loss of the Queen. I mean, I'm sure somebody important is speaking to him. So he's a busy man. It's okay. I'm sure that you can give him a pass. And I got a great question for you. What are your thoughts in regards to the TNT show happening this Saturday? That's a great question. You want to answer that?
So TNT is, I think it's called the Gilroyd Social Club in Barnsley on Saturday.
Okay.
So I've been told that my opponent for that show is Wing Commander Nash, who I've worked with before. He's a very comical guy, and he's gonna ruin me basically because I laugh way too easily, and again when you're wrestling someone who's comical, they make you laugh, and so it's gonna absolutely ruin me. But I'm sure it'll be fun. Again, it's an opportunity to wrestle, and that's what I care about. Is as long as I have an opportunity to wrestle, I don't care who it is I'm working. I'm in that ring. That's all that matters to me. So. Yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to it. I'm not really sure what the other matches are. I know our champion Tommy Rocker's in the main event, but again, I can't really remember the card. But yeah, I mean, like I say, it's just we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, listen, as long as you're on the card, that's all I care about right now on Sportswire Radio. So certainly, I do want to give them a shout out. And obviously, I know everybody's kind of focused on next week, but certainly we have some wrestling this week, and I do want to make sure we acknowledge that. So certainly, this past weekend we had several companies that had shows, whether it was the LWF and KOW, certainly friends of ours here in Sportswire Radio, but then certainly. Next week we have GTM, and the week after that we have Odyssey Pro Wrestling. So it's a very, very busy time here, and also we say here Nash is 100% entertainer. So
Yes.
certainly, yeah, he's definitely, and I've seen some of his stuff. I feel like I've spoke about him on a prior show on Sportswear because at this point I've probably spoken to everybody about somebody at this point, and I totally agree. I can picture that. So all I'm gonna say is try and like as hard as possible not to belly laugh. Whatever you can do, try.
If I belly laugh, I've lost the match. That's it. He can pin me right there.
That's my point. That's exactly. Well, you're gonna have to figure something out. I don't know how you plan for this. Usually, I ask wrestlers say, "Oh, well, how have you trained the last week?" Well, in this case, you're gonna have to train yourself. Maybe like watch some serious dramas for a week. Maybe like watch some horror movies for a couple of days. I don't know. Just you gotta figure something out there, champ.
More, you basically like planned out my whole week. That's what I do anyway.
Well, that's good reasons why to do that here. And certainly, we are here on Sportswire Radio. About 15 or so minutes here with pro wrestling star here, Callam Majeikster, who you are going to see coming up here this coming weekend in TNT Explosive Wrestling. And certainly, it's going to be an action-packed card. There's still a few tickets, I believe, available. And I also want to recognize CCW because it's another sellout once again. I mean, CCW, this company, I mean, they sell out. It doesn't even sell out in weeks' time. They sell out like in minutes' time. It's like unbelievable what that company does. And James Barris, of course, at the head of it for Colory Championship Wrestling. If you're on Facebook now, please join their Facebook page. They do so many great things. Obviously, we're going to have crossovers here from CCW at the GT Ministries show. Obviously, Tommy Diamond and Walker Wall Street. So please make sure that you support CCW as well and anybody else that has come on to Sportswire Radio. Most importantly, Callam_Majeikster on Instagram. Give this guy a follow. He's a superstar. He might be the next Jeff Hardy without the arrest record, without the drunk driving history. So certainly, we're looking for. I made you laugh, which is probably not a good thing because you got to worry about size. So I have to say that's a mulligan on my part. So we're gonna have to take that back here for sure. And he also said, Uncle Ralph, 3 shows in 1 month. CCW completes it. Yep. And you know what? That started from August the 27th, September 10th, and coming up. So you think about that here. I think there was one right before that. So they did 3 shows in a month and sold them out. So certainly, GT Ministries also says congratulations to the CCW fans and the crew. We look forward to welcoming the Diamond Exchange and the Working Class Militia to Chronicles next weekend. Maybe Callam will be there. And certainly the Diamond Exchange, for whatever reason, reminds me of one of those old groups in the NWA way, way back. I don't know why, but every time I see Walker Wall Street and Tommy Diamond, that's exactly what I see. But I can't wait to watch them in GT Ministries and GT Ministries UK. You can definitely give them a follow. It's on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, even everywhere. Love GT Ministries. I can't stress enough, though, also how much I love Blackheart Wrestling and also, of course, CCW. And let me come back to Blackheart Wrestling here for a few more minutes with you. Lawrence Breeze, talk to me about what the head of the company has meant to you over at Black. Because I hear so many great things about Blackheart, but let me come back to them and talk to me about the owner of the company and what he's meant to you.
Oh my God, he's and I will go back to obviously when me and Reese faced Society. So he kind of he was backstage, and I mean I'm very much, I try not to show my emotions much, but obviously clearly it was visible because he kept just saying to me like, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" And he wouldn't leave me alone until I actually spoke to him about how I was feeling. So again, the fact that he was, he cares about his wrestlers. He was trying to check up on me to make sure I was okay, especially with mental health. And every opportunity, honestly, some of the guys that he's put me in the ring with, I'm there going, I can't believe I've just faced this guy. Like, this is amazing.
I see JPR as a part of things. There's Sean Only, who, of course, is a GTM. I mean, they've got like big names there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely got big names. Again, like I say, I tag teamed with JPR in my debut against MGM.
I will
tell you, I've never ever been kicked in the head as hard in my life. Honestly, I got my absolute ass kicked.
Wow.
Honestly, they had me. Billy O'Keefe, I wrestled Billy O'Keefe,
And we know
which
him, of course, because he's the champion there.
what a phenomenal performer. Honestly, I will just say though that they put me down to wrestle him the day after, like literally the day after my 21st birthday.
Oh, wow.
So
Happy birthday there. What a birthday gift, right?
in it, I wasn't successful in that match, but still an amazing match. Cerebral Steve being another one.
Oh, so he's I see him everywhere, of course. Playtime Mafia, Nonstop Action
Yeah,
Wrestling, and unbelievable.
he was phenomenal to work with as well. Like we had a really great match. If Jiro hadn't have got involved, again, I do think I would have won, but obviously that wasn't the case. Um, Even like being the Rumble, I mean, you saw the clips on my Instagram, like just being that Rumble and just doing what I did. And again, what I love about the Blackheart crowd as well is they appreciate what we again. Hell, I do a suplex to get a round of applause. You don't get that very often anymore.
No, you know what? And that's a rare thing, and that's even a rare thing in this scene because I watch wrestling in a number of different companies here in the UK because wrestlers send me their footage. I won't say who, and I think Blackheart it's a little different. Legitimately, I look at Blackheart and there's something special. You're in that theater, you're in that building, that crowd's a different crowd. It's got there's a certain feel to that place. I don't want to compare it to Morecambe, but it's different than Morecambe. Everything's going to be different than Morecambe, but they really do appreciate their wrestlers on another level. And I'm not just saying it because we have friends of the show who are part of Blackheart. I've seen the footage. I've seen that crowd. I've seen that building. There's just something a little different about that place.
Oh yeah, but again, going back to like the managers and the owner, like Breezy, honestly, just what a guy, man. He genuinely he cares so much about his wrestlers. He cares so much, and he knows how he puts on at such amazing shows. Again, even matches I'm not in, I'm watching, I'm going, holy crap, like that was amazing. He's had the brains to put those two together, and that's just blown the roof off again.
And I
So
think he's
honestly,
one of the promoters I look at. I look at him. I look at James Barris. I look at obviously the GT Ministries management. I look at obviously what Joshua Snow has done in Nonstop Action Wrestling. There's certain promoters that I look at and owners of companies. I say, you know what? That guy, yeah, he gets it. That guy, he knows what he's doing. Obviously, of course, UKW as well. I want to make sure I acknowledge the UKW crew as well. But there are certain companies that just get it. There are other companies that I do have on Sportswire Radio, and I go, what were they thinking? What were they doing?
of course,
But not when it comes to Lawrence Breeze, for sure.
uh,
To me, he's one of the best, and certainly I agree 1,000%. Long live Black Heart Wrestling, and also a shout out to Walker Wall Street, who stay tuned. We'll be talking soon, obviously, with the aforementioned Slugger Hampton. We'll talk a lot about the Diamond Exchange. We'll get into that as well in a little while. So I look forward to speaking some CCW/GTM in a little while as well. Uncle Ralph also excited about GT Ministries as well. So he looks forward to visiting GT Ministries again. Excellent experience for wrestling fans. Absolutely. I have seen that firsthand. I've watched all the shows. But you know what? I want to ask you then, obviously, Callam, and what are your goals for the remainder of the year in wrestling?
well, I mean, for the remainder of the year, so I have what three or four more no, I have four more TNT shows. I think we have two more Blackheart shows and potentially a GTM show, which I mean I have to thank you for that because
Oh,
hell, if I hadn't have come onto this show, there's a good chance it wouldn't have happened. So
well,
you took
I
me
guess
from
that means we have to invite you back then so we can reach out to more promoters. Is that what you're telling me?
Triple H can be on the phone. Book me, Hunter, please.
Well, I mean, I would say at this point, I would probably know at least eight, maybe eight, nine promoters. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I would say come back to Sportswire because if I mention another promoter or two, I'm sure that we can make your dreams come true here on Sportswire. I'm sure we can.
Getting as much work as I can, and obviously we'll have a chat with Wrestling Appreciation Society. We'll maybe get a confirmation if I'm going to be there or not. We'll have to see. But
Well, we'll talk about that the minute that they book you. We'll certainly talk about that. I know that Mr. Robertson, we owe a appearance to on Sportswire. I had spoke actually with Mr. Robertson, and he was delighted to hear from him. Well, first of all, I did give him royalties because I do have a shirt that I own of his. So
yeah,
I'm imagining that he'll gladly accept the invite here. But let me come back to GT Ministries management because I have an interesting comment that we have from them, and he says, "Or
ooh,
who for you? What do you want to say toward that?"
that's the face. Hmm, that's a tough one. I won't lie. You know what? Anyone, hell,
Okay,
everyone.
you
Me,
know what?
anyone. I will fight, and I will honestly give you the fight of my life. If it means to prove to you how much wrestling means to me, I will fight for my life. Like, give me anyone. I don't care who it is.
Wow. Okay. You know what? That could be anybody out there in the wrestling world. So you know what? I'm not even gonna throw names out there because GT Ministries has a large
Yeah,
roster, a
I
large
know they
talent
do.
pool. So
I know
I'm
they
not
do.
even gonna say anything. So you know what? I'm just gonna let that sit out there. I'm just gonna let social media take that up. I'm just gonna let anybody that wants to run with that. So that to me could be anybody out there. So I mean, we can play
Or,
the guessing
or,
game for a week.
or what we could do again. So I'll have a look at my calendar and see if we can definitely get it in the schedule. If I can be available for it, if they want to post it on social media, you can let the fans decide.
I'll tell you
We
what.
can do.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna help you, and I'm gonna help management here from GT Ministry. So I promise this. I will post a clip of this tomorrow morning, as I usually do. I like to post a clip so people can watch the clip fully. And the people sometimes don't want to hear an hour; they want to hear 4 or 5 minutes. And I will post a clip of this part of our segment. And then if people want to decide from there, if management wants to play around with it, if whoever else, I'll let that out. I'll let that sit out there. That's all I'm gonna say.
Amazing. Let's do
Okay.
it.
All right. And you know what? Certainly management tends to agree with that. All right, so that's all fine and well here. I know we're coming up close to the end of our time here because obviously I got to get to the other guys from GT Measures who I guess maybe you'll be sharing a locker room with. Who knows? But I wanted to ask you a fun question because I always like to ask this to veterans like yourself who've been in the ring for a long time and have had long careers. Is there one or two moments that stand out most in your career so far?
Hmm. Um. Oh, that's a tough one. See, the annoying thing is, I can't say, oh, when I won this championship because I've never held a championship in the
I
10 years
wasn't
I've.
going to bring that up because I kind of did my research on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Uh,
trust me. We have people on Sportswire that certainly feed us information. I won't explain who and where.
yeah, no. So I can't really say it's been a championship because again, I've never won one. Um. I mean, the big thing is, the debut, that the first ever time, just being, an 11, 12-year-old kid, being in a ring with so many guys, such as, the main one I remember was Mustafa Khan being in the ring, and I remember just being absolutely terrified of him because he's huge. Um, I mean, you know what? That will be the second one, was when I faced Mustafa Khan one-on-one back when it was literally a month before I turned 18, so 17 years old. I faced
Wow,
Mustafa. Yeah,
that's a
17 years
birthday
old,
present.
faced Mustafa Khan, and just trying to fight as much as I could. Unfortunately, it did, but absolutely one of the best matches I ever had throughout my whole career. So I'll probably have to say those two: the debut and fighting Mustafa Khan.
So safe to say you didn't have this. You got jump in.
But I've got plenty more years to come up with other
Oh, I'm
top
sure.
moments.
Listen, I'm sure you'll go on. You win the WWE title. You'll have
Here we
that
go.
streak like Roman Reigns. I'm sure you'll have all of that here. And also, we have here. What about when you beat Tommy Rocker
Oh,
at GTM in Leeds in front of 500 plus people?
yeah, bloody hell. So yeah, basically there was a no-show. I won't mention who it was,
Yeah,
but
don't do that, please don't, because it'll come back to me. Trust me, it'll come back.
the management basically came up to me and said, "Have you got your wrestling gear?" Yes, I have. Get backstage, get changed. You're facing Tommy Rocker. I was like, "Oh my god, this is huge!" And again, it was. I was the ring crew. I'd set the ring up, and we'd
Okay.
set the chair. Looking, there was about 500 people in there, and it was just the greatest thing ever. I remember it literally moment for moment, hitting an RKO because again, trying to figure out a finisher, and the RKO worked for me at the time. RKO, just pinning him, 1, 2, 3, and 500 people just cheering. And honestly, I could not believe it. I was like, "Oh my god, this is like a huge moment." And again, I actually completely forgot about that until they'd mentioned it. Like I didn't
What's
even
the
trust
matter with you? I mean, that's like the biggest. Listen,
like,
to have beaten
that. Is
Tommy Rocker and on top of that in front of 500 people, dude, what's going on with you?
Oh my god! I hit my head a lot. Okay, you've seen it yourself. I hit my head a lot. I forget things.
Fair enough.
So,
Certainly, I could certainly sympathize with some of those
but, oh
points
my
there.
god! No, as soon as I mentioned that, oh my god! I can't believe I didn't list that. All right, we'll make it free. We'll make it free top moments. We'll put that as one of them.
I would
There we go.
certainly think that's one of those moments. Certainly, that's a moment that. Listen, I know you haven't won any gold yet. I know that'll change, but at the end of the day, to have that kind of moment, I mean, that's a big, big accomplishment. So at the end of the day,
Um,
you know what?
oh,
Titles only mean something to an extent because at the end of the day, as a wrestler famously told me once, it's about those people and the reaction. You said it yourself, and how many people were out there. So the fact that you had 500 plus people out there, people, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, 500 people, trust me, in a little venue is a lot of people. Trust me, it's a lot of people. I got to see firsthand. I was at House of Glory where our friend Chris Urban had wrestled, and I think it was like maybe about close to 1,000, and it's a lot. It doesn't feel like a lot, but trust when you're there, it's a lot. So there's no question about that. Let me get to a bunch of comments here. Ronnie Thatcher, of course, who we had on last month from CCW. He's waiting soon here for some of the guys. Love Ronnie Thatcher. Who knows? Maybe CCW is a company out there that could use Callam Majeikster services. And Mr. Barris is definitely somebody that I have been in touch with in the past, so I want to acknowledge them. And Donnie franchise here. It almost reminds me of like I'm trying to think of the we almost got the Rich Swan TNA Impact logo. Donnie franchise,
oh,
did you almost comp off the Rich Swan TNA Impact their videos? But as be that as it may, as soon as I'm trained and ready, I'd love to face a franchise player like Callam, but you gotta make sure you spell his name right. You didn't
exactly.
spell
I'm
your
so
name right.
sick of
You
this.
didn't spell your name. I think it's a running joke towards you now. I think that's the point. And he says, Travis Cox says, Callam, excuse me, sir. I think he admits it was in golf, it was a mulligan he had. It would be a great opportunity and an honor. Just make sure you spell his name right because he really doesn't like his name being spelled wrong. And to be fair, I can't blame him. So all
We do a
great
bit,
stuff there.
do a
What's
bit of
that?
giving, do a bit of gimmick and
Oh yeah, I know what you're doing. That's the Chris Jericho the list thing with Kevin Owens. I was like, yeah, what's he doing? And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. All right, so yeah, we'll have to do maybe I'll come to the UK. We'll reenact the Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens the list. I'll do the book or you'll do the book and we'll come up with it and we'll figure that out. But be that as it may, it has been a tremendous honor to have you here tonight on Sportswire Radio. And I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts, anything you want to plug, share, say, and certainly the floor may be yours. And fire away, my friend.
Thank you. I mean, like I said before, any promoters who want to book me or any wrestlers who would want to step in the ring with me, all you need to do is just send me a message and we will make sure it happens. And I just can't wait to see what the next 10 years can offer for me and for everyone else. Yeah, that's everything. Thank you very much. And it's been an honor for you to have me on the show. So again, thank you as well. Thank you for having me on.
No,
Really do appreciate it.
absolutely. No. Listen, that's what we do here on Sportswire Radio. Certainly, we love to hear everybody's story, and certainly, again, kind of like what the lawman Kyle Kennedy had said in his vlogs. I really think it's important to highlight the wrestler's journey and stuff, and certainly, I think it's very important to do those things. And certainly, I just believe that everybody has a story, and I'd like to be able to share it. And that's what we kind of do here on Sportswire Radio. So I appreciate that. Also, Callam _Majeikster on Instagram. And are you on Twitter as well by any chance? Are you on other platforms? Just so I know I'm not missing anything.
I am on Twitter. I don't really use it that often.
Okay.
Though.
I figured that. Twitter seems to be like a dead platform anyway. I mean, I'm on it, but
Facebook, Callam Majeikster, Instagram, Callam _Majeikster, and YouTube is just Callam Majeikster.
All right, very, very good stuff, and certainly, I also want to make sure that everybody makes sure to follow Blackheart Wrestling, and you can do that as well at Blackheart Wrestling UK. Certainly, GT Ministries UK as well. Please follow them. We'll be speaking GT Ministries in a short while as well. So I look forward to all that great stuff here as we are on Sportswire Radio with Callam Majeikster, and certainly I appreciate the time, and certainly I'm looking forward to speaking with you soon, and I look forward to the next interview that we do, my friend.
Oh, absolutely. We need to make it soon. Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we were here with pro wrestling star Callam Majeikster, who's a part of TNT Explosive Wrestling, where you see him here this coming Saturday. Hopefully he doesn't laugh too hard. Also, Blackheart Wrestling is a huge part of things, and maybe just now, maybe GT Ministries and Wrestling Appreciation Society. So thank you to Callam for tuning in here. And ladies and gentlemen, we are now about to bring on here two of the four components to the GT Ministries Stairway to Heaven ladder match to determine who will be that next person possibly to hold that gold. We are waiting for Slugger Hampton. Slugger has informed us that he'll be on here in a short while, but we're going to go straight for the jugular and cut to the chase. And for the first time here on Sportswire Radio, we are getting on a man who's had some success in many other companies and most recently some big, big wins in GT Ministry. So I got to give him his proper due. So with further ado here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show, pro wrestling star here from GT Ministries and many other companies. That is the man, oh God, Alex Bowman, and a man that we haven't seen on here in quite a while, but boy, he's one of my favorites, and he has been all over the place. He very well could be the next GT Ministries champion if he gets through this match. Mr. Bourne will certainly disagree, but he said he's going to be a world champion within the next year. I think it's going to be a lot sooner time. He is the man, the myth, the legend. His name is Disciple. Gentlemen, good to be with you here tonight.
Evening.
Hi, Tom.
Boy, I could certainly feel here it's going to be a tense match here coming up at the Fountains Church in Bradford, GT Ministries. And the Metal God, Alex Boylan, I want to get to you here first because obviously this is the first time we're bringing you on here on Sportswire Radio. And you've been in these kind of matches before in a sense where we saw obviously at one of the more recent GT Ministries show where you found a way to become that number 30 participant and in the GT Ministries Rumble there, and certainly I know it didn't work out the way you hoped, but you've kind of won in these kind of multiple person matches of late, and you feel like going into this match you might actually have a little bit of momentum?
A lot of momentum considering the fact I actually qualified for this match. Disciple, Slugger, they were just put in the match. All they did was lose a Battle Royal. Why are they in the match?
And you have, as you mentioned, a win over Bentley most recently. On top of this, you've got a couple of big wins.
Bentley has never beat me. I've fought Bentley many times, and Bentley has never actually beat me. So there's that as well.
Okay, well, we'll certainly come back to that.
When was the last time I lost?
It's been, I want to say...
It's been a while.
What we're talking about, 5 months, maybe 6 months?
Yeah, I'm on a bit of a roll. Disciple, when was the last time you lost?
That don't really matter, does it? What
that's right.
matters is next weekend. That's what matters.
What matters is next weekend. Okay. We'll see, won't we? I mean, I can't talk about Slugger at the moment. He's not around, is he, to defend himself?
He will be here in about 5 minutes. He has informed us that he is running late, so certainly we will give him his due then. But, Disciple, I definitely feel like that there is a lot more on the line than has been. You have also said here on Sportswire Radio that you will be a world champion within the next 12 months. This is the first opportunity to prove a lot of people that Disciple's back, Disciple's bigger and better and badder than ever. And I got to feel like that there's a lot more on the line than there is usually for you. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got 3 Muppets to get my way through, which shouldn't be too bad. And then, listen, I've made a statement and I'll stick by my words. I'm coming for one thing and one thing only.
Let me ask you guys both this question. I'll get Slugger the same point on it as well, I'm sure. Talk to me, Alex, the metal god, Alex Boylan, about Rarebit and what kind of factor is he in this race? Obviously, you probably know him best of anybody in the ring. So how does he kind of, as a factor, turn out here in this match?
Rarebit is a monster who lives in a cave, which is obviously why he's not here tonight, because he doesn't even know what the internet is. The guy trains to eat people. I've been in the ring with him on more than one occasion, but between the 4 of us that are in the match, the other 3 people, who's got a pinfall victory over Rarebit?
Metal God Alex Boylan.
No, Disciple doesn't. Slugger, not here to answer the question, but I know he doesn't. So that gives me the advantage, I would say.
I certainly couldn't argue with that, and certainly for you, Disciple, I know it's definitely a different opponent. We've spoken about Rarebit in the past, and we've spoken about a lot of these different wrestlers. But, I mean, how do you go about somebody that's almost as comparable to you and such? Because usually we don't get that too often here on Sportswire. I mean, talk to me about the Rarebit component here in this match.
Well, he's obviously a freak in nature. We all know that. We know what he's capable of. But I think the hidden gem here is that Alex Boylan don't know what I'm capable of. Rarebit doesn't know what I'm capable of. Slugger Hampton doesn't know what I'm capable of, and that's the strong arm that I've got coming into this match. No one knows what I'm capable of.
I certainly think that there's a lot of people out there that may agree. Let me get to a few different comments. How's it going here, lads? CCW is tuned in here. Obviously, they're certainly waiting, anticipating here for Mr. Slugger Hampton to arrive. We promise we will bring him on. He has informed us he will be running a few minutes late, so we'll get back to him here for sure. And, Disciple, Slugger Hampton eliminated you in the Rumble last month, and that was something that Slugger brought up, and certainly it's going to be, I'm sure, something that you have on your mind. We thought that you were going to be the guy that was going to go toe-to-toe with Gareth Angel and get him out of the Rumble. I mean, certainly for you, Disciple, I have to imagine that is something that's been weighing on your mind for the past several weeks, is the fact that Slugger Hampton is the guy that eliminated you in that Rumble. Talk to me about your thoughts on that.
Well, if I'm honest, Tom, I was really ticked off. I know it's a family show, and I wish I could swear, but I can't. But I was really, really ticked off, and it's made me driven more so to go into this match and go for it, because, like I say, I've made a statement, I've made a bold statement, and I'm sticking by it. And I'll make sure that come hell or high water, I am going to be GT Ministries champion.
Well, we'll certainly find out here. And of course, CCW has tuned in here saying that watch the number ratings go up when our guy Slugger comes on. I'm sure of that for sure. I have no doubt about that. Hey, gents, how's it going? Also, Ronnie Thatcher from CCW as well. And certainly we will look forward to more CCW coverage here later on. But, the Metal God Alex Boylan, I feel like in a lot of ways, you might actually have an edge in the fact that you do have the most momentum. You've talked about the undefeated streak the past several months, the big win over Bentley, which I think a lot of people were taken back in how you kind of were able to pull that off. The match to be the
Nothing to
number
do with
30.
me. What happened?
I know, well, for sure.
Nothing to do
For
with
sure.
me. I just took advantage of the situation.
But the fact of the matter is, right now, I mean, you got to be going into this feeling really, really confident. And are you changing anything that you've done over the past several months? Are you just going about
Absolutely
it the same
nothing.
way? So talk to me about that.
Absolutely nothing. Why change the winning formula? Why change what is keeping me going? Why change what is pushing me to the top?
Well, I certainly could not disagree with that here for sure. And let me also get some more comments. I thank the CCW group for also sharing this on their Facebook page because they're waiting here for sure in Mr. Slugger Hampton. So you know what, Disciple? A lot of people, I feel like, are looking at this match and we see Slugger, we see Rarebit. We'll get Slugger's side of the story again, I promise, in a few different minutes and other things as well. But I feel like in a lot of ways, though, looking at something like this here, this is something that I don't know. How do you prepare for it versus any other match? I know you're the king of rumbles. I've got that. These different stipulations, but a match like this, a Stairway to Heaven ladder match, how do you prepare for something like this?
You just have to look at your opponents, and I know that Alex Boylan's there running his mouth saying about the streak that he's on and how many wins he's got. But records are there to be broken. Streaks are there to be broken. It's going to come to an end one day.
If you say so.
I just did.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll see what happens, won't we? It's only a week and a half away. Anything can happen between now and then.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll certainly find out. I mean, the medal got Alex Boylan, though. I mean, would you be, the way Disciple just spoke to you, I mean, would you be concerned maybe?
He doesn't believe what he's saying. You can tell it.
Why do you say that, though? Look at the size of him, though. Are you sure?
There's no emotion behind what he's saying. He's just reading, it's like he's reading off a script.
Could you say
what I'm saying? I know what I am saying to be true. Every time I've said I will do something, I have done it. I promised I'd beat Bentley, and I beat Bentley. I promised that I would pin the Rarebit, and I pinned the Rarebit. Now I promise that I will climb the ladder. I will climb that Stairway to Heaven. I will grab the briefcase that will earn me the chance to win the GTM title. There, I promise it. And you can believe what I am saying because there's emotion behind it. I'm not just sat here going, well, yeah, I think that this might be what's happening. Yeah, I believe what I am saying, and I'm promising you right now that is what's going to happen.
Could I say, though, as a counter, looking at Disciple, that maybe he's playing mind games and he doesn't want to tip his hand to you?
Maybe. But Disciple also knows that he can't beat me. He had his chance.
That's all you're ever good for. That's all you're ever good for is just running your mouth. You're making a lot of promises for next weekend. And I'll make a promise right now that next weekend I will punch you square in the face and I'll make sure that you don't climb that ladder. Trust me, that's a promise.
Well, we'll certainly find out here. Let me get to some more comments. Let me get to the CCW world champion, that is Mr. Jack Bartley. He is tuned in here. Obviously, we've got Mr. Jamie Mack as well. He's tuned in here. And also, we've got here, Rarebit reminds me of Abyss from TNA. No, Rarebit is much more deadlier, and he's much more dangerous. And I'm telling you, Rarebit is like nothing that you've ever seen. That's why you need to go to GT Ministries UK on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Find out more information on GT Ministries where you can see Rarebit, and also YouTube and Facebook is where you can watch the show here come up. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we have him here, and he's finally here, the man with a lot of momentum. You know what? I'm actually going to do something. I promised that I was going to say this a little while ago. I'm actually going to say, you know what? Before we bring on Slugger Hampton and give him his full due, Slugger, I got to give you credit because you know what? The last you spoke to me, you told me I wasn't speaking to real professional wrestlers. You told me I was speaking to kids, right? Amateurs, whatever you new kids on the block, right? Whatever it might be. Since we last spoke, I got Disciple. I got the Metal God, Alex Boylan. I had RPD last week. I had Tommy Dillon. So since what you said to me, I take what you said, and you know what? Slugger Hampton, he might be right. So I just want to say off the bat for the CCW crew, I want to give you some credit.
Well, thanks, Tom. Thank you. Now, first of all, I'm sorry I'm late. Guys, I'm sorry I've been late. You've been waiting. You've been having to talk crap without me being here. But rest assured, look at Boylan's face already. Look at his face already. Rest assured, main event Slugger Hampton's here. Now, Disciple, let's get something off the bat. We had a bit of a do. We're in the same ring in that Rumble. Me and Boylan were as well, but I don't know what happened to you. You were like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
So I respect you. And I'm looking forward to mixing it up in this ring with you. Boylan, on the other hand, I've never heard so much crap come out of one person's mouth in my life. And he's laughing because he knows it's true. So what I'm going to do is, I appreciate it.
Okay, fair point. What have I said that's wrong?
Well,
Any promise
you know
that I have made, every promise that I made, I fulfilled the promise, did I not? So you might think it's a load of crap, but it's the truth.
Right, okay. I'm sorry, I can't stop acting here. I'm sorry, Alex. I have no idea who you are. Sorry, Tom. I tried to act like I did when I come on, and I've heard stories about him. So, no, I don't even know what you've claimed to have done or what you've done, Alex. I'll be honest, mate. I've no idea who you are. I promise you, I'm going to find out who you are on 24th.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask this question to you, Slugger, because I was thinking about this as the guys had got some of their due here, and certainly they had some different things, and I'll come back to them. But you're actually pulling double duty coming up here at the Fountains Church in Bradford. And I know a lot of people are kind of curious to see how this is all going to play out. I mean, for your mindset, I mean, talk to me about that.
Right, okay. The tag match, the Diamond Exchange, were meant to be against another tag team, a tag team that me and my partner have been wanting for a while. And unfortunately, they're not available. And I know GT Ministries, the board were like, oh, what are we going to do? We need to get another team in. They don't need to get another team in whatsoever because they had a team sat here waiting. Now, when I spoke to the board, they were like, oh, yeah, but you're in this ladder match. You're in this. Do you honestly think I've not done double, triple duty before and still come out on top? My boy DB's back. It's a separate matter. We go into that tag match and we wipe them out. And then we go into the main event. And that's where the juice is. That's where the meat's going to be. Because I see there's one guy missing here. I'm not surprised, obviously, he's not here. Guy probably can't even speak. But there's rare bits. So I hope when Boylan's shouting his mouth off about I've done this and that, and you have, I'm sure you have. Again, I wouldn't even know, but I'm sure you have. Disciple, I've seen what you can do. Rare bit's dangerous as well. So while we're all sat here talking this about I'm going to win and you're going to win and Disciple's going to win, let's not forget about that fourth guy. Because if I ain't scared of nobody, but if there's one guy that unsettles me, it's Rare Bit. Now, of course, these boys have probably had more experience with Rare Bit than I have. But I'll tell you something, I'm looking forward to meeting him.
And I have a bunch of comments toward Mr. Slugger Hampton, so let me get to those first because I promised I would. CCF&W from Prince Dagan. Jack Bartley is tuned in here, says Slugger.
Yeah, we're the tag champs, we represent whatever.
And certainly Mr. Joel Cobra, who has no love for you. I'm certainly sure you know that. He says, I can't wait for them to dismantle you in the ladder match. That's what Mr. Cobra has to say.
Again, Joel Cobra, I hope you enjoy it. We are bum knee watching it at home.
Well, he certainly has a bum knee here, and certainly James Barris is tuned in here from CCW. He says, my champ Slugger. Certainly, of course, shout-outs to Mr. Barris as well. And Gareth Angel is tuned in here, and he says, once I've defeated Jack Johnson, I look forward to facing whoever takes the win next week. So, I'm going to ask you guys all this question because Mr. Angel has interjected himself, and I'll come back to this whole dynamic with Slugger and some of the other things. But I'm going to go with the Metal God, Alex Boylan, first, because obviously Jack Johnson is somebody that you've been aligned with quite a bit in the past. Obviously, you're the guy that probably knows Johnson the best of the three. I mean, Does it matter to you who wins between Gareth Angel and Jack Johnson? Are you still pulling for Jack Johnson, or what do you think comes up in their match, and how would it impact you should you win that briefcase?
Jack's on his own next Saturday. He knows that. We don't really see eye to eye at the moment, Jack and I. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't really care. Don't really care who wins. They just know that I'll be the next champ.
Okay. All right. That's fair. For you, Disciple, obviously, we've spoke a little bit in the past about Mr. Angel. You know Mr. Angel. You've been in the ring with him. But also Jack Johnson certainly has been a champion. A lot of people did not think he would have held on to the title as long as he has, but he is the champion. Will the clock run out on his title run? I don't know. But does it matter to you who wins that match? Do you think anybody in particular comes away with it? And what's your thoughts?
No, not a chance. Don't bother me. Jack, yeah, everyone thought it was a surprise when he became champion. Sock and wet through, he's about £3 nothing. Gareth Angel, there's a bit of history there. And I know that sometime down the line we are going to face off, whether it's for the GT championship, who knows. I don't care who it is. Either one of them, I'll slap them silly.
All right, and for you, Slugger, I'm going to ask you obviously the same question when it comes to Gareth Angel and Jack Johnson. We spoke a little bit about Jack Johnson in the past. So I kind of saw what happened at the end of the Rumble where Johnson kind of looked at you, and I still think that Johnson wanted no part of you, and I would definitely agree at this point, considering the run that you are on. I know Boylan's talked about his run, but I do think that your run the past several months, pound for pound, is one of the most impressive in all of pro wrestling. But does it matter to you when it comes to Angel or Johnson and who wins that title on the 24th?
I want to say it doesn't matter, and it really doesn't, for the simple fact that Johnson, he deserves a slap, but Angel needs a slap. So whoever wins, it's not going to matter. I'll shut Johnson up, and I'll humble Angel. It's a win-win for me. It's a win-win for any of these guys, because both of these, like I say, Angel and Johnson, in separate ways run the mouths and in separate ways preach different paths and stories, but at the same time it's time for a new era, and I'm sure these guys will agree it's time for a new era in GT Ministries. These fans have seen the same guys getting the same opportunities over and over again. Hot shotting, not anymore. Whoever wins this ladder match, it's a fresh face.
That's an interesting point here, and let me get to a few more comments. Ronnie Thatcher says, from one champ to another. Good evening, Slugger. We also have here an individual that says, Alex Boylan, you want to explain how lucky you were to beat Bentley? And I have a Bentley announcement right after that, plus another announcement in a few minutes. So jump in.
How lucky I was. What does he mean? I beat him in the middle of the ring? 1, 2, 3. Well, I don't know. I don't understand what he's trying to say.
Well, there was some outside interference, I think is what he's trying to say.
There was what?
There was some interference, I think is what he's trying to point out.
I didn't see nothing.
Oh, you didn't see? Okay. All right.
I didn't see nothing. I hit the death metal DDT and down went Bentley. 1, 2, 3. Again.
All right. So certainly, I guess then we'll find out what Bentley has to say next week on Sportswire Radio, because he's going to address this and more. So I look forward to that. Also, Mr. Cobra says for Slugger, he's 100% now, and he says he'll be seeing you soon. So maybe that's an indication.
How easy it is to get information out of people. Big lummoxing giant, or just outsmart him, and that's what I've done. Good. I'm glad you're 100%. That's a little bit more information that me and DB's got right now.
And Uncle Ralph is tuned in here, and he says, I got to go, but tell it as it is, Slugger. Dan Robertson here says, good luck to, I guess, you guys are best friends. I didn't realize that, but he says, you do me a favor and don't hurt my bald buddy too bad, meaning for Disciple and Alex Boylan. I mean, certainly, I didn't realize you guys were friends, Slugger. Hey, maybe I'm missing something here.
No. Well, listen, this is what happens, especially with these kids. They get a little bit of attention, then they want that rub, don't they, from someone with a bit more experience.
I heard
Someone
from
with
a
a bigger
wrestler
name.
just before that came on. He agreed with you. Callam Majeikster said, I've been in the business 10 years and guys are going about it the wrong way. So, you know what? You ain't the only one that we've had on Sportswire Radio that said the same thing. And this individual says here, surprised Boylan can count. Well done. Let me get to the announcement, though. I promised I have an announcement you guys will be curious for because Tuesday night, coming up here live on Sportswire Radio, a little after 8 o'clock, we're actually going to have on Mr. Gareth Angel and the champion himself here, Jack Johnson, kind of like in how we have you guys on here now. We're going to get their thoughts on things. We're going to get, obviously, their sides to the story and their final words. So I'm going to go with the Metal God, Alex Boylan, first, then I'll go to Disciple and Slugger Hampton. And for you, the Metal God, Alex Boylan, what would you want to say to Mr. Angel and Mr. Johnson before they come on to Sportswire Radio here next Tuesday?
Don't worry about the damage you do to each other, boys. Just wait for the damage I'll do to whichever one of you I have to win that title.
All right, that's certainly fair. Certainly, we'll see what they have to say about that. And for you, Disciple, what do you want to say to Mr. Angel and the champion Jack Johnson before they come on to Sportswire Radio this coming Tuesday?
I just think pay close attention. Now, I might not see eye to eye with any of these people in this match, Boylan, Slugger, Rarebit. But what I do know is that we are hungry and that we want to go for it. And I know that there will be a new GT Ministries champion. So they best watch their backs.
And for you, Slugger, what do you want to say to Gareth Angel and Jack Johnson ahead of their appearance here Tuesday night on Sportswire Radio?
Well, as you know, I wasn't a GT Ministries regular up until, a couple of months ago. And I am the underdog and I'm the unknown. And that works in my favour because Gareth Angel and Jack Johnson probably know all about Alex Boylan. Gareth Angel and Jack Johnson probably all know all about Disciple and all about Rarebit, but they don't even know me. And that's the factor. That's the deciding factor. Everybody's familiar, everybody else in this little playground. And then in comes this big bully boy and everyone's like, what's going on here? Well, let's find out what's going on because I'm ready. I'm ready. I ain't even thinking about that tag team title match. I'm thinking about this guy here, Disciple. I'm thinking about this Sly Fox, Alex Boylan. I'm thinking about that crazy bastard, Rarebit. Because you're my next hurdles. That big bastard's my next hurdle. And I ain't thinking about what's in the future. Like you say, what have you got to say? Do you care about who's the champion? All I care about is the 24th. And then we move on from there. We plan our next attack. Strategize. You don't just walk running like a bull in a china shop anymore. That used to be the wrestling of old. Who's bigger, who's stronger? It's up here now. And to be fair, this guy next to me, Boylan, I might not know much about you, but I do know you're smart and you're sly. And nowadays, this is what it's about. You don't just run about smashing folk in. Yeah, that's all well and good. But wait, if you come up against someone like Boylan, you come up against someone like Disciple, someone like Slugger Hampton, that's a little bit smarter. I've got better strategies, are well prepared, better prepared than this old guard. Because that's what it is, let's face it. Gareth Angel's the oldest guard there. It's time, like I said before, and I sound like I'm preaching, but it's true. It's time for a change in GT Ministries. And the worst thing for that company is, again, they've put all of us in this match because we're all fresh. And like Disciple said, we're hungry. We want gold. We want the recognition. We want to be the name, the face of GT Ministries. And that's going to happen. It's only a matter of time.
Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, there is a very, very strong possibility of that. And if you are on Instagram right now, I want to make sure you have everybody go out there and follow Disciple Wrestler, the Alex Boylan, Slugger Hampton as well. Also, if you're on Facebook right now, please go and follow Cutlery Championship Wrestling on their page. They do a lot of great things. They have always been very gracious to us here in Sportswire Radio. Slugger is obviously, as Uncle Ralph was reminded me to say, he is one half of the reigning defending CCW Tag Team Champions, the Working Class Militia. So please, if you are a fan of professional wrestling, 6 months.
6 months long reign so far. And it ain't no sign of stopping. I'm sorry. Continue, Rev.
No problem at all. Certainly, listen, well-deserved. In 6 months, still the reigning, defending Colory Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Listen, Synergy have nothing on these guys. Reese and Rogan have nothing on these guys. You go up and down. The Wrecking Crew have nothing on these guys. All those Johnny-come-latelys, all those champions, they pale into comparison to what
The
DB
modern day
Riley-
mafia. The modern day mafia ain't a scratch on us either.
And they don't even have gold. I didn't even list them. You know why I didn't list them, Slugger? Because to give you credit, they don't have any gold. I can't list somebody that don't have gold. I can't. At the end of the day, listen, they're not really warranted at the moment to be spoken about. We'll see, though, in the coming future.
It's true. And I'm sorry, guys, because it ain't about that. Tonight's about this ladder match. But I'm just going to say one thing. When the Mafia come at me in DB, acting all big and hard, and we're going to take these titles, how can you be afraid of two guys that look like extras from the Addicted to Love video? We're going to walk through these two giant clowns, smash the cheap plastic sunglasses into the face, and send them back down Bradford. I'm sorry, but I know they're watching.
Oh, they're
They ain't
definitely
forgot about
watching.
you, boys.
They're definitely watching. Mr. Cobra is certainly tuned in here. He says yet with sort of some dots toward that. But, Slugger, I want to ask you, I want to come back to this match. I've only got about 10 or so minutes with you guys, and I realize you guys are getting ready to train for this match. And then I'm going to ask Disciple and Alex Boylan a different question, but it'll come back to you in a way. I mean, for you, Slugger, is this the biggest match of your career? If I were to ask you that question, and what would you think about it?
That's a good question. That's a very, very good question. In terms of where it could take me, yes. In terms of opportunity, yes. In terms of competition, yes. Because again, I don't take nothing away from any of these guys. I want to fight. This is what we're all in this game for. We want to fight. We're all alpha males. We all want to prove we're the best. So yeah, in those terms, it's the biggest in my life. But without sounding cliched, every match is the biggest because I want to prove a point. For too long now, myself and DB have been pigeonholed as tag team wrestlers. It's easily done. Now, I went out this summer and I proved I ain't just a tag team wrestler. And my partner DB's proved he ain't just a tag team wrestler. We went to war last Saturday. For anyone who didn't know this, my wildcard opponent was my partner DB. The first time we've clashed in 5 years of tagging, and we went to war. And that's the sort of guy I want by my side. So yeah, we ain't just tag team wrestlers. And come 24th, when I've got that contract, I'm going to prove it. And I hope you boys are ready as well.
For you, Disciple, this week coming up here into this match, do you do anything differently? Do you train differently? Because there's a lot of match with a briefcase hanging up. Do you do anything differently in order to get yourself ready next week at the Fountains Church?
No, it's just stay focused. I think I've had a little bit of time off recently. I feel refreshed. I feel ready. I feel determined. I feel focused. There's a new outlook on my life, and I've got a new drive within me, and I'm sure you've seen that my demeanor tonight. That I'm completely different. I'm ready for this. I'm ready to fight. Saga mentioned it. It is going to be a fight. We are going to be going in there, all guns blazing. It will be a fight. It will be a battle. It will be a war. But I've just got one thing on my mind. I've made a proclamation, and I'm going to stand by it.
Well, we're going to see. You're going to have to first get through Rarebit, the Metal God Alex Boylan, and Slugger Hampton. And for you, the Metal God Alex Boylan, I know you've been pretty confident. You kind of said it that you're not going to change anything, but I'll ask it anyway. The week here leading up to next weekend at the Fountains Church, you doing anything differently? You're training differently, thinking different, or it's still same old for you? And because you're on the big winning streak.
There'll be an extra bottle of tequila and a few more groupies. That's about it.
Okay. Well, certainly Def Leppard would certainly be envious of that with the groupies.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
certainly,
if I can wake up after Slugger just droned on for the past 10 minutes, and then Disciple didn't
I'm sorry, Alan.
Excitement back up either, did he? But yeah. No, to be honest with you, obviously I can't speak for Rarebit because he's not here, and I don't want to put words into Slugger's mouth. I don't want to put words into Disciple's mouth. But unfortunately, I do have to agree with them both as well. This is the biggest match of our careers at GTM, at the very least. This is our chance to show, you know what? Nobody wants to see Jack Johnson as the champion anymore. Nobody wants to see Gareth Angel as the champion anymore. They want to see something different. Be that me, be that Disciple, be that Slugger Hampton, be that Rarebit. I'm just saying it's going to be me.
Slugger, I want to ask you this last question for you, and then I'm going to get everybody's thoughts of what they want to say to each individual, and then we'll move on to closing thoughts here. And I feel like in some way or another, Slugger, because you're representing CCW, obviously I know that the Diamond Exchange are there, but you're different because you're pulling double duty. You're a champion of technically the 4 people in this match. You are a champion as well. So you hold gold in another company. So you do have a lot of momentum here and a lot of different reasons, 6-month anniversary and so on and so on. But do you feel like Slugger in a sense that you have a lot on your shoulders in the fact that you are the guy that's representing CCW. You're the guy that's representing a company that has a lot of attention, a lot of spotlight right now. And is that added pressure for you or an added burden because you are the CCW guy here in this match?
The only pressure that's on me is the pressure I put on myself. And that outweighs any pressure from any company, any set of fans, any roster. So, yeah, I might be representing CCW, but I care about myself and my partner, DB. That's all I care about.
All right.
So,
fair points there.
Whether it's Disciple, and again, I apologize, but business is business. Whether it is Disciple, whether it's Rabbit, whether it's the rock star the metal god Alex Boylan, that's his name. Sorry. Thank God it's on the screen, so I won't even know who this kid is. It doesn't matter who it's going to be. Again, time for talking.
Who I am after this match, mate. I promise you that.
Well, I really hope so. Prove me wrong, boy.
Wow.
No matter who it's going to be, it doesn't matter who it's going to be. I've come for a fight now. There ain't going to be nothing from me after this. This is the last time I'm going to speak about this. And Disciple, you're nodding your head. I know you feel the same. Time for talking's done. Now, this kid here, he can talk all day. That's fine. But I want to fight. Disciple looks like he wants to fight, and I know Rabbit wants to fight.
And you know Alex, I want to fight too.
Do you?
You know I do.
You won't fight your way out of a paper bag, son.
Oh, wow.
Look at you.
Really? Oh, okay.
Well, let's find out, brother. Let's find out.
Well, we're going to find out for sure, and certainly GT Ministries UK on Facebook, on YouTube is where you can watch the biggest wrestling event of the year. That is Chronicles, where we will see in a double main event, we will see here the Stairway to Heaven ladder match, where we will see Disciple, the Metal God Alex Boylan, Slugger Hampton, the CCW, one half of the tag team champions, the working class militia here, and also Rarebit, where the winner of this match will be that number 1 contender and very well could be our next GT Ministries World Champion from what's left of Gareth Angel and the champion, Jack Johnson here. So certainly this is going to be an event. I'm going to be glued to my computer, glued to my seat. I will be watching as I always do for everything GT Ministries related and GT Ministries UK. You can also go on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok as well. And again, YouTube and also Facebook is where you can stream the show live. I think you were starting to think around 7 o'clock or 6:30, I think is when all the stuff gets going. And then certainly after 7 o'clock, you'll see all the matches. Tommy Dillon will also be in action with this open challenge. We'll see much more stuff ahead that'll be announced in the coming days because we will be spending all week next week on Sportswire Radio dedicating coverage to GT Ministries. Bentley will be in the house at some point on Tuesday. Blue Glasses Girl Friday. We will have her on as well. Plus Gareth Angel and Jack Johnson. One more time, Gareth Angel and Jack Johnson, 8 o'clock, a little after 8 o'clock, to speak about their match face-to-face. We'll get the final words from them, and certainly I'm looking forward to all that. If you are on Facebook, you can follow us anytime at Sportswire Radio, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnram.com/player. But the talking is over. I want to give everybody almost the final thoughts to each individual wrestler before we get to closing thoughts. So I'm going to go with the Metal God Alex Boylan. So I'm going to give you the floor. And is there anything for final words that you want to say to Disciple and Slugger Hampton before next Saturday at the Fountains Church.
To be honest, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I say to either one of them because they both know that I'm walking away with that contract. They both know they haven't got a chance. Slugger, how old are you? You look ancient, mate. You look like I'm going to break you at any moment. Disciple, you're ginger, so nobody can really tell how old you actually are. But still, I've been in a match with you before, and you didn't beat me. You both know that you can't beat me. There's only going to be one winner, and that is going to be the Metal God, Alex Boylan.
Well, we'll certainly see. And for you, Disciples, is there anything that you want to say as final thoughts to Slugger and the Metal God, Alex Boylan?
Yeah, well, firstly, I'm not worried about Alex Boylan at all. For someone that's got flamingos in his on his bloody wall, I'm not worried in the slightest. I will slap him silly around that ring, and I can't wait to shut his mouth. So all he seems to be doing is talking about how good he is, how he's done this, that, and the other. I don't give a monkey's what he's done. All he's done tonight is run his bloody mouth, and I've had enough of it. So on Saturday, I'll make sure I'm coming for Boylan first. I'm not even going to reply to that. You're wasting space. Slugger, I've got a lot of respect for you. But listen, we're going to put that respect aside because on Saturday, I'm going to come fighting. And then Rarebit, he's a crazy guy. I've been in the ring with him before, and I'm looking forward to being in the ring with him again. I'm ready for a fight. I'm ready for a war.
All right. Certainly warlike words there from Disciple. And for you, Slugger, your final words toward the Metal God, Alex Boylan, and Disciple before next week at the Fountains Church.
On the 24th of September, Disciple, Boylan, and Rabbit, please, please, please bring the fight. Because hunting's no fun when your prey doesn't move. And when all's said and done, I know it's cliche and all the smoke's settled and the dust clear, I will have stepped into that church, that venue, that arena, that war zone that is that ring. And I will prove one thing, whether it's myself, DB, or together, we turn up, smash a bastard, and leave. Only this time, it's going to be 3. I'll see you there, boys.
All right there, ladies and gentlemen, straight for the heart, straight to the point. Let's now get to closing thoughts. For you, the Metal God, Alex Boylan, you certainly have made quite an impactful debut for us here on Sportswire Radio, and we'll certainly see if the winning streak continues. We'll certainly see if this run that you're on continues and leads you maybe to a road to gold. So I give you the floor. I give you some closing thoughts, any social media that you want to plug or anything else that we missed, and I turn it over to you, my friend, and the floor is yours.
Just my Instagram, the Alex Boylan. All the information you need about all the places I'm going to be fighting people. All you got to do is follow it, and you'll see. Next year will be the year of the Metal God.
We'll certainly see, and we'll certainly find out here. And judging by the guitars on the wall, I'm sure we're going to be getting ready here for another session, another tour, and we'll see what happens. And Disciple, my friend, I want to give you the floor. I want to give you closing thoughts, any social media you want to plug or anything else that you want to say before next week at the Fountains Church. And can't thank you enough, and fire away.
I'm just fed up with the talking now, to be fair, and I've got to the point where I'm ready, just ready to fight. Obviously, my socials are there: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. It's all there. I'm just looking forward to next weekend. Can't wait.
All right, well, we'll certainly see here for sure. Looking forward to that. And Slugger, I want to give you the floor, my friend. Anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to say? And I can't thank you enough, and thank you for enlightening us last time on the show. And certainly we look forward to what you're going to do next week in the Fountains Church, and the floor is yours.
First of all, thank you for listening, Tom. All I've ever wanted is a better quality show for you, and you're finally making that happen. Secondly, if you want to know who Slugger Hampton is, just Google me. Otherwise, turn up to a show, pay your money, and watch me smash someone's head in.
Simple, straight to the point. And ladies and gentlemen, one more time, that is why you need to follow GT Ministries, GT Ministries UK, pretty much on any social media page out there. I also want to make sure I acknowledge our friends over at Cutlery Championship Wrestling for sharing this on Facebook. Please follow their page. Please follow all the great things that they have done. They've had 3 consecutive sellouts in less than a month, so we want to make sure we acknowledge them. I want to thank James Barris for his support, and I want to thank most of the locker room. Also, I want to thank again Gareth Angel and GT Ministries. We will have more GT Ministries coverage here on Sportswire Radio starting this Tuesday. We'll have Bentley at a time announced later on this weekend. We'll also have Gareth Angel and Jack Johnson in the face-to-face around a little after 8 o'clock. And Blue Glasses Girl will be with us also Friday night on Sportswire Radio just before bell time at the Fountains Church in Bradford. So thank you, everybody, here for tuning and watching here on Sportswire Radio. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. We were with pro wrestling stars, Disciple, the Metal God, Alex Borland, and one half of the reigning, defending, 6 months long and going strong CCW Tag Team Champions from the Working Class Militia, Slugger Hampton. Thank you, everyone. Good night. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, I'll be back tomorrow night. And if you're on sportnarium.com/player, you'll go back to your regularly scheduled programming. Thank you, everybody. Good night. You're on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire